In my last video, we explored three community patterns: zonation, stratification, and succession. For Year 12 biology students, understanding zonation in more detail is essential for their assessments. So, this video is dedicated to those who want a deeper dive into the organisms found in the intertidal zone of a rocky shore. Zonation refers to the distribution of organisms into distinct zones within an ecosystem in response to environmental gradients like moisture, temperature, or salinity. In this video, we will focus on the adaptations of organisms living in the intertidal zone of a rocky shore. To keep things concise, we'll cover this topic in 2 or 3 parts. Let's begin with the splash zone, the highest zone located above the high tide mark. This area only receives water through ocean spray or occasional waves during high tide. This zone is very dry, often exposed to air for long periods, and experiences temperature fluctuations. Organisms found in this zone are adapted to live in this hostile environment. Let us look at some of these organisms and their adaptations. First on the list is lichens. Lichens tolerate salt spray in the splash zone of rocky shores through several fascinating adaptations. The lichen's outer layer, cortex, is often thick and robust, providing a barrier against salt and minimizing water loss. Lichens can absorb and tolerate high salt concentrations. Their cells are adapted to handle osmotic stress by balancing internal and external salt concentrations. Lichens absorb moisture from the air, including the humidity in the salty spray, and store it for metabolic processes. This minimizes reliance on fresh water sources. The fungal component of lichens forms a symbiotic relationship with algae or cyanobacteria, allowing them to photosynthesize even under stressful conditions. The fungus protects the photosynthetic partner from desiccation and salt damage. Lichens grow slowly, which reduces their metabolic needs. This strategy allows them to survive in harsh environments with limited resources. When conditions are extreme, lichens can go dormant, effectively pausing their metabolism until conditions improve. These adaptations make lichens some of the hardiest organisms in splash zones, able to withstand high salinity, desiccation, and the mechanical stress of waves. Now look at periwinkles, another intertidal organism found in the splash zone. They inhabit this area as they can tolerate long periods without water and have adaptations to prevent desiccation. Periwinkle snails are well adapted to survive the challenging environment of rocky shores. Here, they face strong waves, fluctuating temperatures, and the risk of drying out. Their robust, thick shells provide protection from wave action, predators, and desiccation. A hard, trapdoor-like operculum that seals the opening of their shell, reducing water loss and preventing desiccation during low tide. Periwinkles often group in clusters to reduce water loss through evaporation and minimize exposure to the sun and wind. They hide in crevices, under rocks, or in moist microhabitats to avoid desiccation during low tide. By closing their operculum, they can trap water inside their shell, keeping their body moist even during extended exposure to air. Their foot, used for clinging to surfaces, is highly resistant to drying out. They produce sticky mucus that helps them adhere to surfaces and also reduces water loss. Periwinkles move up and down the shore with the tides to stay in suitable moisture and temperature conditions. Their specialized tongue-like structure, the radula, allows them to scrape algae off rocks, a readily available food source in their habitat. Some species inhabit the high intertidal zone where they face less competition and predation, though the conditions are harsher. These adaptations allow periwinkle snails to thrive in one of nature's harshest environments. The next one on the list is the barnacle. Barnacles are well adapted to survive the dynamic and often harsh conditions of rocky shores where they face pounding waves, desiccation, and predation. Let us look at some of their adaptations to live in these harsh conditions. Barnacles are encased in a tough shell made of calcium carbonate. This protects them from predators, harsh waves, and drying out during low tide. Their thick shells provide insulation against temperature extremes, protecting the soft tissues inside. They have a set of movable plates that can seal their shell opening, reducing water loss and providing a barrier against desiccation and predators. Barnacles produce a super strong adhesive substance that allows them to anchor firmly to rocks. This prevents them from being dislodged by waves or predators. Barnacles often grow in dense groups, which provides stability and additional protection from wave action. Barnacles extend feathery appendages called cirri to filter plankton and organic particles from the water during high tide. These appendages can be retracted for protection during low tide. By relying on water currents to bring food, barnacles can feed efficiently without expending much energy. This is passive feeding. During the low tide, barnacles reduce their metabolic rate to conserve energy and minimize water loss. Most barnacles are hermaphroditic, allowing them to function as either male or female, which increases their chances of successful reproduction in densely packed colonies. These adaptations collectively enable barnacles to thrive in the demanding intertidal environment. The next one on the list is limpet. Limpets are well adapted to the harsh conditions of rocky shores. Here, they face powerful waves, predation, desiccation, and temperature fluctuations. Let us look at some of the key adaptations that help them survive in this challenging environment. The cone-shaped shell reduces resistance to wave action, making it less likely for limpets to be dislodged. The thick, strong shell protects predators and helps prevent desiccation. Light-colored shells in some species reflect sunlight, helping to reduce heat absorption and prevent overheating. Limpets have a powerful, suction-like muscular foot that allows them to cling tightly to rocky surfaces, even in strong wave action. The foot secretes a sticky mucus that enhances adhesion to the rock and helps to seal the edges, reducing water loss during low tide. Limpets use a radula, a specialized tongue-like structure with rows of tiny teeth, to scrape algae and biofilm off rocks as their primary food source. A thin layer of mucus under the shell helps to trap moisture and prevent desiccation. Limpets can tolerate periods of drying out by conserving moisture within their body. Their tough shell and ability to remain stationary help them endure temperature fluctuations on the rocky shore. Limpets reduce their activity when exposed to air, conserving energy and reducing the risk of desiccation. The rough texture and coloration of their shells help limpets blend in with the surrounding rocks. The suction of their muscular foot makes it difficult for predators to pry them off the rock. These adaptations enable limpets to survive and thrive in the physically and biologically demanding environment of rocky shores. Thank you for watching, and we will explore more organisms living in the intertidal zone in my next video.